And Graham's spun the coin, and Mike Briley has called heads. And it's tails. And the Australian captain, Graham Yallop, has won the toss. And Graham Yallop has told Mike Briley that the Australians will bowl and the England team will be batting.
The question on everyone's lips before the first day of the second test match in Perth was just how this wicket would play at the Wacker. England, with a great two-day victory against West Australia, had no doubts whatsoever, and they left out spinner Phil Edmonds and brought in Hendricks, and then replaced Chris Auld with John Lever. Australia left out Phil Carson, and when Graham Yallop won the toss on a very overcast day, he had no hesitation whatsoever in sending in the English team.
Now the first ball of the second test, Hogg to Boycott. We see for Australia that the new player Darling is out in the covers. Now we do have an amended weather forecast for today. It's for cloudy weather now, occasional light rain and a risk of thunderstorms, and they expect a maximum of 27 instead of the original forecast of 35, and at the moment fresh southeasterly winds.
An aggressive field placement straight away by Graham Yallop. In the slips there are 4 men plus a gully. There you see the gaggle.
And no appeal.
And Hogg once more.
And this time a reaction. There may have been a little bit of bat or something there, but 2 balls in a row that have troubled Boycott, and this is the first over. And he's having a good look at this pitch. Remember the match here just a couple of days ago, Western Australia and England, lasted just a fraction more than 2 days.
The breeze just helping Hogg slightly to move it into the batsman. He is predominantly an in-slanting type of bowler. Breeze blowing from approximately the top right-hand corner of your picture.
And no run. There was a good save by Wood at short backward leg. And the applause from what's building up to a fairly substantial crowd here on the first morning. And the first over of the second test is a maiden. Dimmock here to bowl to Gooch. An appeal for leg before. They're taking a run. That reaction was behind the wicket. Let's see. If that was a run, it was off the bat, so no hope of a leg before appeal. But that's the first run of the game. Gooch is 1, Boycott yet to score. England, after being sent in, none for 1.
Yes, I was under the impression there that it wasn't a bad LBW appeal, because I thought the ball hit the pad first before it went onto the bat.
Now to Boycott. And this time an appeal, but not out. Umpire Brooks at this end.
Well, Jeff Boycott's looking down the wicket, and well he might, because that ball came back like a fast off-spinner. That really did move an awful lot. Boycott, I think, missed it by a foot. It would have missed the leg stump, I think, by the same margin, but certainly did move.
An appeal for leg before this time again, but not out. And a run here to Boycott. Here's first. They're going down towards fine leg. They've taken one, and they're coming back for a second. It's Hogg fielding. So Boycott is 2, Gooch 1, none for 3.
Boycott played that very well because, in fact, the ball did move again off the seam. Boycott getting well across there on his stumps, you can see, but he's opening his stance as though he's facing the angle in which Dimmock is coming in.
An appeal for leg before again, and not out. Tom Brooks, who takes a long time, just put up the arm or hand to hold the hat that time. That must have sent a tremor through Boycott's knees. Far end to Hogg. He'll bowl to Gooch. Ooh, and a pair caught behind. He walked. So Gooch caught McLean, bowled Hogg 1. Boycott not out 2. England 1 for 3, and he didn't even wait for the appeal.
No, the deflection was very wide indeed there, with Gooch playing for the in-swinger. Here's Hogg bowling the ball into Gooch, and Gooch plays at the ball. It leaves him off the wicket. He looks around, he knows he's hit it. He's walking now. Even before Hogg raised his arms in jubilation, you can see Gooch had walked away from the crease. And so yet another failure is chalked up against the name of Graham Gooch in this Test match series, not having too happy a tour.
And in comes the real form batsman for England in Derek Randall. Here's the applause for him. Randall, who got a 70 in each innings in Brisbane. He was named as the man of the match. He comes in now at a bit of a crisis for England. Hogg now has the figures of 1 for none.
And is bowling exceptionally well. And that was one of the few deliveries that Hogg has made go the other way. He made that one go towards the slips, whereas normally he's been making the ball come into the right-handed batsman. And it took Graham Gooch completely by surprise. So 1 for 3, and already Yallop's decision to send the opposition into bat has paid dividends. The England batsmen out there definitely struggling very hard against this pace attack under humid, overcast conditions, and obviously on a pitch where there is a little bit of movement in the surface, and on a surface which is not really making life very easy for the batsmen. Randall, of course, there you see his tests. His highest score, that was in the Centenary Test, and he really is in form. Centre against New South Wales and a good double in the first Test.
And one that really lifted.
I think Randall will be hoping that umpire Baylash doesn't warn Hogg again for running on the wicket. That was a vicious bouncer. Not badly directed either. It was just outside the off stump. Randall was going in behind the ball and suddenly found himself having to go the opposite way.
Interesting point about that ball, Frank. The definition of a bouncer is shoulder high. That was just on the height, wasn't it?
Yes, above shoulder height is the definition.
And up in the air, it could be caught by Wood, and he's out. Listen to that roar. Randall caught Wood, bowled Hogg, no score. Boycott not out 2, England 2 for 3.
Well, that was a change of mind shot from Derek Randall. I think he was going to try to hook that ball. He changed his mind, stopped his shot, and as a result, played no shot at all, just simply scooping the ball up into the air to present that quite simple catch to Graham Wood. And that is a tremendous psychological blow for Australia, because Randall, as Norman May has told you, has been the man in form. There's the ball. He's going to hook. Then he's suddenly changed his mind, possibly thinking the ball was not coming up as high as he expected, and consequently didn't get over it. He's agonizing now as Wood was taking the ball.
So Mike Brearley coming in, Brearley at number 4 for England.
Well, Mike Brearley opening bat normally, having dropped himself down in the order since the New Zealand series in England. now finds himself coming in a position which is virtually tantamount to being an opening batsman. 2 wickets down for 3. And the Australian bowlers very much on top.
Hogg to Brealey.
And Hogg certainly has got his tail up at the moment. As well he might.
Darling out in the covers, no run. And that's the end of Hogg's third over. Here's the applause for it. Hogg, 3 overs, 3 maidens, 2 for none. And runs here. Chase for Yallop. They've taken 1 into single only. So Boycott onto 3. And the total moving to 4. 4 runs to England, to a loss of 2 wickets and just on half an hour of play. Hogg to start his 4th over from the far end, and he'll bowl to Boycott. And no run. That's Darling, who's very fast in the covers. An appeal for leg before, not out. Umpire Barras shaking his head.
Close, but not quite close enough. Wide on the crease, you can see Hogg, the ball going across the batsman. And I would think from the angle he's bowled it at, it was going down the leg side. It looks in line with the stumps from where we are, but you've got to take into consideration the fact that Hogg was fairly wide on the crease, and the angle was far more pronounced than you saw it on that occasion through the replay.
Boycott again, best part of 3/4 of an hour for his 3 runs, facing Hurst. Another big shout going up. And that found the outside edge there, moved away, just dropping short there.
Yes, well, we spoke about it in Brisbane, Jim, but here it is again, fieldsman too deep. Let's have a look at the replay. Boycott shuffling across. Wide, he knocked to it, and it's dropped short of Bruce Yardley. Well short, but we can have a look at those slips. Let's have another shot of it from front on. As you can see, Boycott well away from that one.
Shows there's still some movement there. That's beautifully taken down the leg side, rather flicking the pad, I would have thought. And that's edge, as it carried. No, Cozier slip signals that he picked that up on the half volley.
Once again, here it is in replay, well away from his body and dropping short, and we can't have this occurring. The Australian fieldsmen have got to do something about their slips cord, and it's up to the captain to adjust it.
Well, there's an over-pitched ball. It's only just prodded away by Brealey, but at least it gets him away. Boycott coming back, going to make it into 2 for Brealey. And that's beaten the bowler. I think it's the first runs coming from that far end. Boycott will take 2 for it. So the best part of 55 minutes before we've seen a run scored from a bowler coming in from that far end.
Just shows you, Jim, how easy in fact it is. He just pushed forward there, no problem at all. 2 runs every time.
First again to Boycott. He's pushed safely through mid-wicket, just a single this time. And that single at long last takes England into double figures. The Two men back. Gooch out for a single. Rundle without scoring. Get another shout, but again it seemed to me to have wandered a long way outside off stump. Just depends a little bit how far he got when it hit him.
Yes, it's not easy to see from that angle, but here we can have a better look. Probably worth a shout that
Reasonable
time.
shout,
Yes,
yes.
a bit too
very
high.
Fair shout.
The runs here. Darling getting chased from cover. Got one. Back for a comfortable 2, and that'll be all. Really goes to 7. 2 for 26.
I suppose the only thing interesting Hogg now is when are they going to get a run off me and break my duck. 2 wickets for no runs, and that's been up there for almost 2 hours.
And he's bowling his 6 over. That's a very good ball, but it was definitely a mixture of bat and pad, a stifled appeal.
Here we go again, and it's a good delivery, this one, and this has been going on, especially the first hour of the morning. This was going on all the time. It cut back rather sharply, that one, and it would have no doubt whizzed past the leg stump. This has been some real fine bowling on by the 3, Dimmick, Hurst and Hogg. It's been, Gallup's kept the pressure up, and these 3 men have bowled very well.
Hogg to Brearley. A single. Next Wood coming away from short leg to field. So that's the first run of Hogg, who has bowled. This is his 6 over, and it's the first run coming this morning.
And a chance, was it? Tui, backward square. Now, was that off the bat?
I'd say it was off the bat or glove, but I'm just wondering whether it carried.
And in the air over the head of slips, it's safe, and it's going down to the boundary for one of the rare 4s in this game. Really taking strike on 17. And a chance for caught behind, he's out. Really caught McLean, bowled Dimmick for 17. Boycott not out 19. It's 3 for 41, and Dimmick has 1 for 19.
He deserved that. Dimmick really deserved that. I think we got to a situation where Brearley now was really fancying Dimmick, and he goes for this shot off the back foot. The ball short of a length, angled across him, and there's Brearley trying to force it away into the offside, and as a result gets a thick edge that flew through to keeper McLean.
Now Dimmick to bowl to Gower. And runs for him straight away. There'll be a couple here. That's a chase for Yardley, and they come back for 2. So Gower 2, Boycott 19, 3 for 43. And again the square cut, but take the pace taken off it by Yallop. Well, that was a beautiful shot by Gower. He really got onto that. Only a single. He goes to 3, and it's 3 for 44.
That was, in fact, vintage Gower. That's precisely the way that he plays.
And that was a nasty one now.
Well, I think that's hit him in the helmet. And it's rather a good job that Gower had that helmet on. Let's see where it does strike him, in fact. He goes down, and I think it did. It hit him on the head. And it was a very good job that he had that helmet on. There it is, going past the shoulder of his bat. It was a good bouncer. It was outside the off stump.
And in the air, but safe. There'll be 1 and 2 possibly. Yes, they're coming back for a second. As Hurstfield, and 2 more to go. He goes on to 5. 3 for 46. And beautifully stopped there by Wood. A clever piece of work. An applause from Western Australian crowd here.
Good delivery from Hogg. It seemed to move back into Gower, as you can see. And again, Gower was going over to the offside. The ball followed him. And he almost did a one-handed sort of desperation stroke.
And in the air and wide. Just wide of third slip, down to the fence for 4. There was a dive there by Yardley. He couldn't touch it. I don't think he got a finger to it. And into the fence for 4. And Gower goes to 9. And that's the 50 up for England. 3 for 50.
And what a good ball again from Hogg. A ball that pitched and moved off the seam. Gower, committed to his back foot defence, could do nothing more than just deflect it through the slips. And it's wide there, as you saw, of Yardley at that 4th slip position. 3rd slip, I beg your pardon. There it is again.
Hurst now to Gower. And moved across nicely, whipped that away, square on the leg side, and they'll get 2 very comfortable runs. Well, found the 1 man there on the offside. Rick Darwin placed perfectly for that off drive. That's over pitch, driven beautifully through mid-off. Super shot there by David Gower, racing away down to the stands, and Darling giving it up. So about the best shot we've seen played out here today. Takes Gower on to 25 and brings him level with Boycott. And the medium plays Cozier, and Boycott pushing out there. Not knowing very much about it, gets an inside edge and will scramble 2 for it. In fact, they'll get more. There's overthrows coming in. Made it to 3. It could be an all-run 4 here.
That's a good-looking stroke. Beautiful pull shot. It's 4 to Gower. He goes on to 29, and it's 3 for 83. There's a beautiful flashing square drive. It's 4 more to Gower. Or is it? The outfield's pretty slow. Tui's giving chase, but he won't quite make it.
Well, what's happened? 2 4s in 1 over. Things are happening out here, and that was another great shot by Gower.
And the hook shot all along the ground, beautifully kept down. It's a long chase down there. But Dimmock across for 2. Boycott's wanting 3, but Gower from this end said no. So Boycott goes to 35, and it's 3 for 95.
Very good shot. He's not the greatest hook in the world, but he got above that and kept it down, as the textbook shows. Oh.
There's a loud appeal, but they say not out. Great disappointment shown there by Hurst and the Australian fieldsman. Boycott just waving the back at that.
Now, what's this? Shocking shot, this by Boycott. Absolutely horrible after the last one. Everything's wrong. Oh. Well, I've seen Jeff Boycott bat for many, many innings, and I saw him make 103 in 1 day, batted all day against New Zealand at Headingley a few years ago. And I thought that was the most painful innings I have ever seen. I think he's going to eclipse that quite easily here, because he's only 35 runs and it's almost tea time.
Hogg to Gower. Runs down the leg side. 1. And back for 2. It's Dimmock shooting there at fine leg. So the 100 up for England. 3 for 100.
And a Fine shot for his 50. That's racing out towards the boundary. It mightn't be 4. That's Tui after it. And they've taken 2 and looking for 3. So Gower 52. And they go for a run. There's no run there. There's a shot at the stumps and hit the stumps. Is not out. Must have been very close.
Gower going for the drive, edges, square. Hoggs there, picks up, returns in one movement, and we see that Gower had dived. In fact, the return did not hit the stumps. This was Dimmock's, 17th over, so he's had a long spell today.
And a run to Boycott. He may look for 2 here as the fieldsman's got a long run in. Hurst, and Boycott goes on to 46. 3 for 123. Gower gave Boycott about 2 hours and 20 minutes start, and now he's 9 runs ahead of him. And wide of the keeper. Good attempt by McLean. When it reached him, I don't think at catching height, but it's a single. He goes to 47, and he's the only spinner in this Australian team.
That's right. In fact, there's no one else to bowl in the Australian side apart from people who've already bowled. There's no one with any pretense whatsoever to bowling.
And Boycott's shot flicked away, backward of square. Chase for Hughes. This might not be 4, but I think they'll get 3. Turning for an easy 3. And that's Boycott's 50. 50 in 4 hours and 37 minutes.
To round the wicket now to Gower. And driven quite beautifully between mid-on and the bowler. Really looked the man in form here today. On 41 the score, the last wicket going down at 41, the partnership exactly 100. Oh, he's placed that rather cutely. On top of it, chopped it down past second slip, and that'll run away for 4.
Hogg round the wicket to the left-handed Gower. There's a good drive. Darling giving chase. They've got 1. Back for 2. Do they want the 3rd? No.
Oh, what a shot.
What a shot. Beautiful square cut for 4. Superbly timed. Gower on 87, facing Hogg. Up in the air, but it's safe. Square on the offside. 4 more. Gower 91, 3 for 176. All through, Gallop at gully there. He certainly got his hands to that. It was a very, very stiff chance. He hit it like a bullet. And Gower gets 2 runs. He goes to 97. There's the clock. And they're the players who are out today. Gooch for 1. Randall no scored, really 17. Oh. That's a beautiful on drive. That'll be 100. There's 4 runs. It's a beautiful shot by David Gower to get his 100. He goes up to 101. And England now are 3 for 189.
Well played, young fella. Beautiful innings. Beautiful knock. That is well worth watching. That is, you couldn't wish to see a better stroke into position. England being 2 wickets for 3 runs, and Boycott just bottling up one end. Here's the stroke again. Watch this. Absolutely perfectly timed. Hit the ground just after it hit the bat, and off it sizzled to the fence.
England, having been put into bat at stumps, are 3 for 190. Gower is 101, and Boycott 63.
Under no circumstances could the first day's play of the second test be described as a scintillating day's cricket, but it did have some great moments and was a true Ashes clash. Australia, I felt, should have been in a commanding position because they had the ball running for them in the early sessions. But David Gower and Boycott showed typical English grit, and now the box seat is very much in the English camp. Tomorrow morning, I believe, we'll decide how this test match will go. The wicket will be absolutely perfect, and if England can consolidate, go on to get a big score, then they must surely be favourites to take out the Ashes. As they say in the classic, the game was delicately poised when they resumed play at the Wacker on the second day of the second test match. England were 190 for 3, with Gower on 100 and Boycott well set. Australia, on the other hand, had an ace up their sleeve in the fact that the new ball was only 7 overs old. What would happen, we'll find out very shortly.
We did have a shower overnight, quite a heavy shower, about 9:30, but it hasn't affected the wicket at all. And the outfield might be a little bit slower, but I doubt it. England at the moment in a good position, ready to press home their advantage to a 300 total. But here comes Hurst bowling the first ball of the morning to Boycott, and with him Jim Laker.
Thank you, Frank, and a very good morning. And there we are, a wide first ball of the day, which brings up the 150 partnership between these two. Came together when Brearley fell, the total on 41, and now 191 on the board, 3 men out. Boycott on 63, Hurst the bowler. That's the first runs of the day from the bat. The 2 runs here for Boycott, just steered it wide of gully. Comes back very comfortably for the second run. More runs there for Boycott. Push that smartly between the 2 short legs. Only be a single this time. Here's the danger man, in my view, for the Australians here this morning. Rodney Hogg, who's been such a find for Australian cricket this year. Bowled really well, particularly in his early spell here yesterday. 2 for 41. He's turning his attention now to Boycott at the far end. Very gentle, medium-pace loosener there.
Hogg yesterday showed us that he could cut the ball into the right-hander from outside the off stump. I wonder if he can do it today.
Not far away from the finer of the 2 short legs, but played with sufficient skill for Boycott to take a single. The first no ball of the morning, and the first runs from it to David Gower. He's pushed quietly away on the onside. Hogg round the wicket to Boycott. Just nudge that away through the short legs. Just a single in it.
You see that England have added 9 runs to their overnight score in something like 31 minutes.
And he's gone. Hogg strikes through, breaks this long partnership. 4 men out now for 199, and Gower goes after only adding 1 run this morning, but for all that, it's been a superb 102.
Well, all I can say to Jim Laker's comments is here. Here's the replay of that dismissal. Hogg bowling around the wicket, wide on the crease, as you can see, angling the ball into the left-hander. Let's see if it straightens. It's coming into him now, and it does straighten, doesn't it? We saw Gower there playing about middle stump, the ball cutting away from him, took the off stump. We did see yesterday Hogg bowl a few of those deliveries. Again, closer this time. We're getting a real bird's eye view here. And as you can see, it was a pretty good delivery. I wouldn't have liked to have faced that.
Good delivery, that, Frank, from a bowler of that sort of pace. I must say, as an off-spinner, I wouldn't have minded bowling that, but to do it at 90-odd miles an hour is a superb piece of bowling.
A great round of applause for David Gower, the 21-year-old left-hander from Leicestershire.
So Ian Botham has made his way out quietly to the wicket. See his test record there. 300s is made in 12 test matches, averaging 42. On the other hand, Hogg bowls one like that, England could be in a bit of trouble here. Well, Gower's innings of 102 took 248 minutes, included 9 boundaries, and he received 220 balls. So 2 right-handers in now. Botham's first ball from Hogg, sticking to this round the wicket attack. And applause for Rodney Hogg, who once again for Australia has burst through as he did here yesterday, and as he did so very, very well up at Queensland.
So what will Botham's tactics be, I wonder? I suppose I rather anticipate, and probably Jim Laker will say the same thing, I think Botham will play his natural game.
Well, I think it'd be foolish not to, Frank. It's the only way he plays, and it's the way he's successful. And Boycott too is playing his natural game here at the moment. And if he sees another day out, he must be online for the slowest ever Test match 100. Spirited shouts again going up there from the slip fielders, but
there we see the ball. No, he didn't hit it, but he was well forward, and the point of contact outside off stump.
There's the right hand coming into play again, whipping it away through mid-wicket. And Botham can move a bit quickly through the wickets. He'll make his ground quite comfortably. So the 200 coming up for England, 4 for 201, with Boycott finally moving into the 70s.
Oh, sign of aggression. And the hook shot from Boycott. It's 1, fielded there by Hogg, back for 2.
Well, was that a vision before my eyes? Is that right, Boycott really slashed one?
He's off the mark. 1 to Botham, fielded there by Hurst. He is 1. Boycott is 74, 11 sundries. It's 4 for 206. Off the edge, there's runs. Chased by Yardley. And 2 runs to Boycott. He goes on to 76. England 4 for 210. And whilst the players are enjoying their drinks, let's go down to Wally Foreman.
I'm sure the most concerned man at the WACA ground was the English captain, Mike Brearley. But, Mike, things certainly look a lot rosier at the moment.
They certainly do. I mean, at this stage yesterday, we could easily have been out for less than 100.
You must have been very pleased with the batting of David Gower.
Beautiful innings. He's a perfect timer of the ball, and he applied himself well. It's a magnificent 100.
He's proving to be something of a test trump card, isn't he?
He is. He doesn't bother about the other matches. It'll do for us if he keeps scoring 100 in the test matches and getting 0 in the other matches.
Mike, were you perhaps a little disappointed with the run rate yesterday afternoon?
No. I mean, if you can go 4 and over, that's all well and good. But if they bowl as well as Australia did and the pitch does as much, I think we did jolly well.
And there were no perils in the wicket?
There were plenty.
So you'd be looking forward to bowling on it?
Well, I think yesterday morning with the cloud was probably at its best for bowling. But it's still done a bit today, and, you know, your lads have beaten the bat a few times.
Just looking at the early part of the English innings, Mike, it would appear that you do still have some gremlins in the high order batting.
Now, any side in the world who batted on that pitch yesterday morning against that bowling would have struggled. I'd just like people to realise that. It's not, if you go in and the ball seams about and swings about and goes through, some bounce and some don't, any players in the world, you've got the best defensive opening batsman in the world in Jeff Boycott, and he struggled like anything for an hour and a half. I know he's a bit out of form, but, you know, you bowl against Bradman on there, you get him out.
True, you must have been impressed then with the bowling of Rodney Hogg in particular?
Yes, and I think we'd have bowled even better on it.
And you'd be looking forward to probably having a shot at the Australians sometime late this afternoon?
Well, we don't know when.
Well, ideally,
want a few more runs.
Realistically, what would you like to see happen today?
I suppose it would be very nice if we got about 400 and had you 30 for 5. That'd do.
And that's probably very realistic. Thanks very much for your time, Mike.
Thanks a lot.
The ball bouncing a little bit.
Well, the only thing I can see that Australia at advantage, having sent England at batters, this pitch is getting easier for batting, and by the time the Australians bat, it should be very placid. There's that ball. You watch it pops a little. Man in close might have snaffled that one, but to put a man in close to this man, it's putting his life in danger. Such as that.
There's a beautiful hook shot. That's 4 runs. Good giving chase. The ball is slowing down, but I don't think he'll catch it. Or will he? Touch and go. No, it's just over the line. That gives you a fair indication of the outfield. A little bit slow. We were talking about the showers overnight. It certainly has slowed down the outfield a little bit. But Botham goes on to 6. It's 4 for 214.
I was just saying just before that stroke that put a man in close, it's putting his life in danger, and you can see exactly the next ball what I meant, because that is a beautiful shot, a short arm jab, hit across that and hit it beautifully, as you can see. When you look at the Australian attack there, it's not very strong. You've got Dimmick, Hurst, Hogg, Cozy. Well, if you call him a bowler, well, I wouldn't really call him a bowler of any class. Oh.
Another hook shot. Again, that's not timed really well, and it won't go for 4. Wood giving chase. They cross for 2, and they're coming back for 3. Botham goes to 9. It's 4 for 217. Beautiful return from Graham Wood. Warm applause from the crowd. Hurst to Botham. Beautiful off drive. Certainly won't be 4. Cross for 1, back for 2. Darling giving chase. There he is. 2 runs. Botham goes to 11. 4 for 219.
I think you'll find that Yallop will switch his field around now, that both of them are starting to hit the ball. Some of those men from slips will be coming out, and there's a lot of open space in front of the wicket. It's a beautiful stroke. Look at that. Perfect stroke. Already Yallop starting to bring the men out, and if he tosses one short, there's a ton of room on the onside, and this fellow hooks well. Plenty of room for him to hook.
Very loud appeal, and that is out. So Botham is out. LBW to Hurst for 11, and England are now 5 for 219.
That was plumb, I would say. That's absolutely plumb, and for Tom Brooks, who turned down appeal after appeal after appeal yesterday, that one would have hit about the middle stump, I'd reckon, from our position here. There it goes. Well, you saw it, and oddly enough, a few yesterday looked very adjacent like that one, and turned down. But anyhow, the danger man is out, Botham, because he just started to play some very fine strokes. Scored 11 runs, but he looked very effective. There we go.
There you see Geoffrey Miller from Derbyshire, the all-rounder. Oh, it was a good delivery. My goodness, that was close.
This ball just leaving the batsman ever so slightly. Miller playing down the wrong line here. Fortunately for him, close to stumps, close to outside edge, and not close enough from the Australians' point of view, though. In fact, really, the bowler should be trying all the time to be well up to Jeff, because he tends to play back these days too often, and he's been the victim of quite a few LBW decisions this season already.
Now, further field change. Tui's moved away from short fine leg to third slip, so there are only 3 men now on the onside.
An appeal for leg before, and out. Boycott's out. Leg before to Hurst for 77. A monumental performance by Boycott. He batted for 7.5 hours for 77, just a minute or 2 under that. And here it is, the end of Jeff Boycott. A tremendous performance in terms of patience. And Boycott is out, and Australia right back in this game at 6 for 224, and Hurst has 2 for 56.
Exactly what we're talking about. We'll see the replay now. Ball well up. Boycott shuffling back and across where he should have been pushing forward. As you'll see, that's well up. And there's no doubt whatsoever about that. Once again, as we're talking about, Norman, the ball not bouncing as high today. That one yesterday would have hit the top of the pads, just below the roll.
And here's the applause for Jeff Boycott as he leaves the scene after one of the longest innings in Test history. 7 hours and 28 minutes for 77. Now, this is Taylor, the English wicketkeeper. And that's almost bowled him, has it? How did it miss the stumps? How did that miss? It went down from outside the off stump to finish at fine leg. And that was off the bat.
Yes, I thought it just went down the leg side a little bit, Norman. Here we can see he's pushing forward. I think it gets the inside edge through, and this is what threw John McLean. You can see how far it's deviating now, going further away. They're terribly difficult catches.
Well, runs here, there'll be a couple. A long chase for Wood from just the short leg position. They come back for an easy 2, and Taylor goes on to 7. It's 6 for 238. Now the wind for Yardley coming in from that end is going quite strongly left to right when we look at the opposite view. He gave that some air and it's been driven away fairly well. A long chase for Darling. Darling's really fast. Now they've taken 2. Let's see if they want 3. They're going and they'll get them easily.
There's a friendly full pitch, put away quite nicely by Miller. Driven straight. I think they might just have taken a little bit of sting off it, but not sufficient to prevent it going through for 4. So the 250 coming up for England. 6 men out, 252 the score, with Miller on 12 and Taylor now on 11. That's a chance. Down the outside edge, the diver McLean couldn't grab hold of it. And Rodney Hogg doesn't think much about the game of cricket at the moment. Interesting to see if this would have gone to slip, Frank.
Yes, it's wide there, a thick edge, and I think he probably would have gone to slip. It looked as though McLean was very late moving to that, and that would have certainly travelled to first slip. Yes, that was a bad miss. The sort of chance that one expects to be taken. Funny thing is that the first slip and the keeper are standing very close together, aren't they?
Very close indeed. And that's out this time. Yardley takes the wicket. Taylor goes for the big hit. It was quite out of character and he snapped up at mid-wicket. So England 7 for 253 with Taylor falling for 12.
I think Hogg probably did all the work, but it was Yardley who got the wicket. Taylor going down the pitch, attempting to hit a ball wide of the off stump, over mid-wicket. In fact, the ball probably didn't spin very much, which resulted in Taylor not hitting it at all cleanly.
So we're getting down to the ruts and mice now, as they say. This is John Lever. Up the other end, and it's a wonderful throw. Very close indeed to Lever. He's just making his ground, going quite casually. Lovely piece of work in the field. Well, that's hooked away by Miller. Dropped it short, and no problems at all with nobody back there. 3 short legs in, and Miller tucks it away and collects a boundary down to long leg. Crushed through the area between slips and gully, and it's 4 more.
And a chance and caught by Cozier. Lever caught Cozier, bowled Hurst for 14. Miller not out 35. 8 for 295. And beaten the offside field. That's a nice looking shot. Darling may not get this. It may beat him out through the... Over the line it goes. Yes, 4 to Miller. That's 299 the total. Yes, he'll get a single. And that's the 300 up for England. England 8 for 300. with Miller on 40 and Willis yet to score. Bowled him, clean bowl, a beautiful ball. That really was a good ball. Miller bowled by Hogg for 30, England 9 for 300, and Hogg has 4 for 52. That was a magnificent ball. And away it goes. Who's underneath it? The mid-on. It's Hurst calling for it. Yallop's under it and caught. Great catch.
Well, that stayed an awful long while in the air. Here it is now. Bob Willis this time winding up again. Straight up in the air. As you can see Friday swing, and look at the eyes of the players, and Hurst really should have been his cap, but now he's calling for his captain. He's come over, and Yallop's grasped it there, very relieved.
Now there's Hogg leading the team in. He finished with 5 for 65, by the way. So England all out for 309.
England's final score of 309 certainly took a long time, but what it would also do, of course, is make the Australian batsmen very tired before they resume their innings. They spent a day and 2/3 in the field, and this next 2 hours is not going to be easy for them.
So Lever to bowl the first ball of this Australian innings to Wood. Well, he's given him plenty of opportunity there outside the off stump.
Yes, I shudder to think what will happen if one comes the other way. That was a good ball.
Came very, very close then to get in an edge. So Ian Botham is the bowler at the river end.
Well, this is quite an extraordinary choice of an opening attack, isn't it? Lever and Botham with Willis and Hendrick in your side.
I think if we permutated this opening attack between all the experts set up here, would have all been wrong. So Ian Botham with 70 test wickets in 12 test matches. 4 slips in the gully, waiting for the edge. And another shout and a shake of the head from Robin Baelish up there. And the only reply being a leg bye signal. That's a lovely shot. Over-pitched ball driven squarely and firmly on the offside. Now giving chase, and Darling very quick between the wickets as he has in the field, has made 3 runs there for Graham Wood. Well, they went through with the shot this time. Didn't quite middle it, but got on top of it, hooked it down all the way along the ground to Lever at long leg, and Darling now also is underway. 2 runs there for him. So this duel to be resumed between Lever and Wood.
And Peter Loder's just passed me the message that England have opened with Lever because they feel he's going to be more effective against the left-hander. But he likes bowling the left-handers.
It's an intriguing thing about John Lever is that he can bowl the outswinger to the left-hander. As I said earlier, enormous difficulty in bowling an in-swinger to a right-hander.
Possibly because he's got to push the ball across the right-hander before he swings it in.
That's right. Once he pushes it across, he usually finds it keeps going across. But that's the other one that came back. Good delivery and a good shout, and he's gone. And Wood is out LBW, and Lever surprised him there with the one that came back. And Australia lose their first wicket. The score on 8. Wood goes LBW to Lever for 5.
And I don't think Graham Wood had much to complain about there because he really wasn't forward. It was a pretty indeterminate sort of shot. He didn't commit himself to the front foot or back foot. He just went across his crease with the ball coming into him, pitching outside the off stump. There it goes. And you can see it makes contact with the front pad, but I would say that the front pad was no further forward than about 6 inches behind the popping crease.
St. Hughes, his first ball from Lever. Oh, my word, if he'd had another short leg in, that could have been dangerous. Gets him off the mark with a single. And Bob Willis does the fielding down at long leg.
Lever with his job done. Having removed the left-hander Wood, which he rather fancied he could, is giving way now to Bob Willis, I think the spearhead of the England attack, certainly the most effective bowler that England had in Brisbane.
No ball bouncer.
It wouldn't have made any difference. I think Hughes was committed to the shot before the call came through to him.
What a beautiful shot, 4 runs. Superb square cut by Hughes. He goes on to 14, it's 1 for 28.
Well, there's been some good shots played by English batsmen, but none better than that one. Like a similar, what's this? A beautiful stroke. He gets right over it. That is absolutely perfect, and he really middled the ball. Hughes, I noticed in Brisbane, he gets over the ball very well. He picks this flight of the ball up quickly, and I think just outside the off stump, which I expect this delivery to be, he gets over rather quickly. There's the straight back.
He's bowled it.
Said that, clean bowled him.
What a beautiful delivery too. We'll have another look at that in a moment, but I've got a feeling that may have left Hughes. Anyway, Hughes is out, bowled by Willis for 16, and Australia are now 2 for 34.
That's his delivery. Let's see what happens to this delivery. He just played inside the ball, and the ball definitely a little leg cutter.
The new batsman, Graham Yallop, the Australian captain. Yallop yet to score, facing Hendrick. Oh, what a good one.
Well, that's just what we're saying. He slants it away to the slips, and he's very accurate, as I mentioned, and that was a very good delivery. It completely upended Yallop. But Yallop goes to the push. Very close to the outside edge.
Hendrick to Yallop. There'll be a couple of runs here, or will the Gower giving chase from leg slip? Yes.
Now here's Willis bowling to Yallop. And a chance, and he's bowled. In fact, he's bowled him. Look at Willis, he's racing away to square leg. I thought it might have been edge there. He completely bowled him. And the second one, so Yallop is bowled by Willis for 3, and Australia are 3 for 38.
Here it is there, Graham Yallop just playing down the wrong line and losing his off stump. And this, Norman, I believe, is probably a result of the enormous amount of time that this Australian team have spent in the field, because the dismissal for both Hughes and Yallop, as you can see there, the ball doing not a lot, but just enough, and the reflexes and the response of the players just that little bit slow.
Well, the next batsman for Australia is Tui. We'll look over his shoulder too at that onside field. There is a deep backward square leg on the boundary, and only one other onside fieldsman. Shot. Good shot by Tui. That mightn't be 4. They've taken 2. Easy 3. And is it a run again? No, there isn't. There's a misunderstanding. The shot at the far end. Is he cut out? He's out. He's out. Tragedy for Australia. Darling has ran himself out for 25. Australia 4 for 60.
The fieldsman at short leg, they're just getting a hand to it, bouncing away from him. Darling coming a long way down. Couldn't turn, and an anxious look, and the umpire said yes. Australia 4 for 60, a disastrous start for them, especially chasing 309, and England must be very pleased with themselves at the end of the second day's play. The wicket gave a little bit of assistance throughout the day to the bowlers, but not as much to account for the dramatic collapse of the Australian attack. I believe it will get better as the match goes on. Australia will need to play a lot better tomorrow if they're going to get out of this match. Australia, when they resumed play on the third morning of the second test match, were 4 for 60, chasing a total of 309. Their number one priority, however, would be to have scored the 109 runs needed to avoid the follow-on. And the men who I feel can play a big part in the day's play and make sure that Australia get at least a respectable score are Peter Toohey and Gary Cozier. Let's now join them on the third morning of the second test.
Cozier at the moment taking guard for his first delivery from Bob Willis. The breeze from the southeast fairly strong. The temperature at the moment 25 degrees, the forecast temperature 30 degrees, and the weather forecast is officially unsettled and thundery, but at the moment it's very, very fine here in Perth. So the burly red-headed Cozier faces his first ball from Willis.
Of news from the England camp this morning that Bob Taylor, the keeper, you see there, you see him stretching his fat quarter muscle in his right leg, the inside of his right thigh, and having a little bit of trouble moving. Apparently he felt this bit of trouble while he was batting yesterday, then he had to dive off a ball from both and yesterday, and it's aggravated the injury a little bit. He's strapped up. It's a single to Cozier. Pace taken off that by Willis, but Randall comes round to cover, so Cozier's off the mark with that single too. He is 6, and it's 4 for 61.
And wasn't that a characteristic beginning to a Cozier innings? I don't think Cozier knows the meaning of the word defence. He's an aggressive middle-order batsman who I think in Brisbane was misplaced by being put in higher up the order as an opener. That isn't his role.
Willis to Toohey. Very good delivery, cutting back. We saw Bob Willis making this ball move around last night, and again, that one cutting back quite a lot.
Well, let's have a look at it in slow motion. The ball pitching outside the off stump, coming back sharply. And we see Toohey there playing close enough to his pad. You may recall in Brisbane he left an awful gap between bat and pad and was bowled by Willis.
Runs here. It's a long chase round. He won't catch it. It's 4 runs. Toohey goes on to 10. It's 4 for 65. And interestingly enough, it's going to be Jeff Miller, the off-spinner, to continue. We thought we'd see a pace this morning, but in fact I was talking to Mike Bealey, the England captain, just before the start of play, and he was saying to me that he was surprised that there was a little bit of turn in the wicket. Thus, we see Miller continue. He's going to bowl his second over. 7 balls last night, 1 this morning after that run out. And now he's bowling his second over, and he'll be bowling to Cozier. A little bit uppish, but it's a single. Randall is the fieldsman. Cozier goes to 2, and it's 4 for 66. Nice bit of drift in the air. That's an outside edge. 1 to Toohey. It's Gower picking up, and Toohey has got 2. And a hook shot, not really well timed, over the head of Boycott at backward square leg, and they've turned for 2. Always a good one to Cozier. That one not coming back in, I think just holding its own and missing the outside edge of the bat. Willis to Cozier.
Cozier, expecting that short delivery to get up, was disappointed as the ball barely got chest high. There's really no need for Cozier to duck on that occasion. At least there's one redeeming feature about it. He didn't try to hook it. Had he done so, there might have been a catch result into that man at backward square leg.
Off the edge and he's out. So Cozier going for that drive. A very good catch there, taken by Gooch. So Cozier's out. Port Gooch off the bowling of Willis for 4, and Australia now have slumped to 5 for 78. Frank Tyson.
Well, really, Gary Cozier did fall for the 3-card trick there. We saw earlier in Willis's over a ball outside the off stump make Cozier play and miss. On that occasion, a similar sort of delivery, a little bit further up, tempted Cozier into trying a drive. It was too wide. Cozier wasn't across to it. The ball just about held its own, and the resultant thick edge was quite easily caught by Gooch in the slips.
That's the end of Willis's 11th over. His figure's now 3 for 28. To McLean. The sweep shot is up in the air and it's out. So again.
And McLean knew he was out. He was walking before the catch was completed. So McLean falls again to Miller, who claimed his wicket in Brisbane's second innings, LBW. He was very close to being LBW in Brisbane, trying the sweep. But now here he is trying the sweep, second ball, and edging it onto his pad. Let's have a look at it. It's extraordinary how the ball that was so wide of the leg stump managed to lob up there into the silly point position.
The fieldsman there is Gooch, so he's taken the last 2 catches. So McLean is out for naught. Caught Gooch off the bowling of Miller, and Australia now are 6 for 79.
The incoming batsman, a local lad, getting a round of applause from his home crowd, Bruce Yardley.
There's a single. Willis is deep at mid-on, so Yardley's off the mark. 1, 2-21, and it's 6 for 80.
So Bob Willis is the bowler, and Yardley the batsman. And that's not a very good shot. Never really to the pitch of that ball. Very airy-fairy, loose shot outside the off stump. 4 slips, squarish gully waiting. And that's a handsome shot off the back foot by Yardley. Great roar of applause from his local supporters here, and they'll take 3 very comfortable runs. So that's the situation as drinks come out here, and we can now cross down and join Wally Foreman.
It's been another very disappointing morning for the Australians, and I'm sure no one is more disappointed than the Australian captain, Graham Yallop. Graham, it was an encouraging first 30 minutes, but then trouble set in again.
Well, that's true, Wally. I think I hope to get a few more runs on the board now, but you know, it was an encouraging start. Then we had that collapse, as you said.
First problem, of course, is going to be to avoid the follow-on.
Well, that's true. I'm sure we'll get that, but I'm hoping to get a lot more runs than just the follow-on.
Do you think there's enough left to get seriously close to that 309?
Oh, yes, I think if Bruce remains with Peter will stay there for as long as he possibly can, and then we've got another couple of batsmen to go.
Probably the saving grace so far this morning, Graham, has been the form of Peter Toohey.
That's true, yes. Peter's playing extremely well there this morning, and it's really encouraging because he hasn't been in terribly great form over the last few weeks, and it's encouraging to see him get a good start this morning.
What went wrong yesterday afternoon, Graham?
Well, I think one of the reasons was the fact that we'd fielded for 2 days, and not many of us had done that for quite a few years, I'd say, and it does tend to get to you after a while. and I think some of the fellows were a little bit tired. But that's making no excuses. We should have stuck around there and still been there today.
Is the English swing bowlers, or are the English swing bowlers causing you problems? You all did well in the West Indies against sheer pace, but this is probably your first confrontation with good swing bowling.
Well, that's right. They're very good seam bowlers as well as swing bowlers, and we will have to try and counteract that seam off the wicket that producing all their wickets for them.
Graham, thanks very much for your time, and all the very best of luck for the remainder of the game.
Thanks, Wally.
So play about to resumed, in fact, with the first bowling change of the morning. Bob Willis taking a well-deserved rest, and it seems that he's going to be replaced by John Lever. It's over-pitched again, and a magnificent stop there by Randall. Save 4 certain runs. Beautiful pickup.
what a character, what a great fieldsman he is. This is a superb shot by Bruce Yardley. He's really given this something. Wide, he's thrown the foot well out away from it, hit it in the middle. And Randall there has thrown himself one-handed and picked it up cleanly. Magnificent stop.
I'll tell you what, that's the best shot we've seen in this match.
It is. No run.
Poor old Bruce Yardley didn't get a run for it. He's found the gap all right this time. Cracking shot through extra cover. Gooch giving chase to it. My word, this outfield really is slow in this match. He's able to pull it up. They've got to run them. They'll run 3. And the shot, which I would have thought under normal conditions, must have brought 4. Shows the men out. Just 2 of those falling this morning, Cozier and McLean, following the 4 that were dismissed last session here yesterday. And that's a lovely shot. Randall giving chase with 2 runs in here for Peter Toohey. So Mike Hendrick, the Derbyshire medium pacer. 3 slips he's got. A similar sort of field, in fact, to John Lever, although he's going to operate right arm over the wicket. Yeah, the field at mid-wicket in that position where he's swooped in and run a lot of people out recently. But the single brings 3 figures up for Australia. But they've got 6 men back in the pavilion. And Peter Toohey has made 30 of those on the board, 30 out of the 100.
And also, of course, saves the follow-on. If ever it was going to be enforced, and I can't imagine it would have been.
Yardley now to face Hendrick. Oh, that's a good delivery, cut away very sharply, and Yardley's gone, caught behind, and that was a very good bowling change. There's a little bit of movement that Braley was looking for. Hendrick supplied it, and Australia a 7 for 100, with Yardley caught behind for 12.
This time Bruce Yardley walking also, which is rather unusual. You don't often see the batsman decide he's out himself and taking off. Yardley playing forward. Very fine edge. No movement at all from the umpire. But Yardley says, I'm out and I'll go.
And there's a debacle for Australia. I don't know what you think about this, Keith, but I can't think they've batted terribly well.
They batted badly because, Jim, this pitch has been played pretty well after the first session on the first day, don't you think? It's played reasonably well, and I think really they think it's down to one thing. It's a bunch of young rookies playing against some rather highly skilled professionals.
So Rodney Hogg, who made some useful runs up at Brisbane in the last Test match, to face Hendrick. There's a wristy flick. There's no third man. There's runs there for Rodney Hogg. Gooch giving chase, and I think it's the faster part of the outfield out there, so he collects a boundary.
Australia requiring 3 runs to avoid the follow-on. 3 runs, 3 wickets in hand. Taking a single, Toohey to 32, 7 for 108. And runs, this will save the follow-on. I'll get a couple here. Chase for Lever, they've taken 2. And back for 3. So Australia has saved the follow-on at 7 for 111 with Hogg on 8 and Tui 32. And in the air, but safe is it? Yes, what a shot. That was a shot and a half. It was like a little chip shot to the green. 4 runs.
Willis to Hogg. There's a short one and it's gone inside. He's out. He's been given out, caught off an inside edge, so Hogg is out. Caught by Taylor off the bowling of Willis for 18, and Australia are 8 for 128.
And it's very difficult to tell what the expression is on Rodney Hogg's face behind that visor, but let's have a look at the dismissal again. The ball short of a length, and the ball passing between bat and body, well taken by Taylor down the leg side. There was quite obviously some sound there.
Left-hander Dimmock facing his first ball from Willis.
For Tui, Willis has a fairly conventional field. 3 slips, a point, cover, mid-off. It's the offside field. On the onside, he just has 3 men. A wideish mid-on, backward square leg, and a deep fine leg.
There's a good square cut. Well, not square, I think it was attempted there, but it went pretty fine. But it's 4 more to Peter Tui. He goes on to 43. It's 8 for 136.
Yes, I think Tui's really got to take his courage in both hands and really try something adventurous.
A little bit more air. Nicely flied it for a change. Nearly paid dividends. A thick outside edge, but those 2 runs for Peter Tui will bring in 50. So a good 50, in saving 50 there by Peter Tui. He's taken the best bat of 3.5 hours. Total on 8 for 149 as Hendrick comes in. There's the single off the first ball. I don't think Lever will allow him a second this time. And that's a much better throw. So the 150 comes up for Australia, but 8 men are out.
Well, there is a bowling change at this end, and it's Lever coming on, the left-arm bowler. Down the ground, good shot from Tui. That's a beautiful shot. A couple here, he might look for 3. Yes, an easy 3. So Tui on to 60, 8 for 160. Leave it to Dimmock. And there'll be a run here. Yes, they're through. Now, that may be a leg by. We'll look for umpire Brooks and see what was the signal. Yes, indicating the sundry. So sundry's on to 9. It's 8 for 161. And again, fine-looking shot. Now, this one was better timed. It could be 4. It's a chase for Gooch. He may not get to it. It's going to be close. And it's 4. By the look of it, yes, 4 runs. We couldn't see that, but that was quite exciting. Burton to Bell now to Dimmock, who's doing a very good job out there. 9 not out. To Lever, no run.
It's a little slower delivery then by both of them, but Dimmock shaping like a batsman.
Well, just looking at the full of wicket, is this the best partnership of the match for Australia? They put on 37 now. I think that would be just about the best.
It would be the best of the match.
That's the best for Australia, of course, not for Gower and Boycott, of course, had a big stand for England, but for Australia it's the best partnership. And a nice-looking shot. That was well played. Boycott, and they're looking for they're not going for second, and the raw for Jeff Boycott, and good piece of fielding there. And Dimmock on to 10, and it's 8 for 165.
Now, that's good tactics by Tui then. He obviously wants to strike. They could have got 2 runs quite easily, but Tui's the man we want to face the bowler. Much more proficient man, a much more professional man, and he's 64 as against Dimmock's 10.
The hook shot, and that's beaten the field. And yes, it could be 4. Over the line it goes, just over the line. And 4 more to Tui, his 68. 8 for 170.
Yes, well, we mentioned Tui's got the shots to burn, and now you're starting to see some. 2 beautiful straight drives and that fine hook shot. Beautiful stroke that was. This is what we want Tui to do, play strokes. He's a much better batsman when he's going for the bowling and than being a defender.
Again, magnificent shot that time. Gower just gave that up. That was a magnificent hit. It's going right to the back fence.
Well, having got caning in the first one, it seems rather, and knowing that this man is a good hooker, it's rather stupid, I thought, of both of them to bowl him another identical delivery, and here you see it.
And didn't he give that something?
That is the best shot played in the match so far. Best shot, that gets my 10 marks as the best shot played in the match.
2 to 72, 8 for 174. Again, it won't be 4. I'll get a couple here. Tui 76, 8 for 176, and that makes the partnership 48.
Yes, a bit of silly bowling by both of them. It's okay to bowl one bumper at him, but having seen him really cane, then I would have decided I'll give you your best and decided to keep the ball up to the batsman.
You'll recall just a few balls ago to his decision not to take that second run. Well, since then he's put on 10 runs.
10 vital runs at this stage for a 10th wicket partnership. Yeah, 128 they were, 9 for 128 when Dimmock came in, and now they're... I'm still forgetting we've got Hurst to come, haven't we? I'm getting mixed up. I still think there's 9 wickets out. I'm sorry about that.
4 more. I'd say so. Yes, it's on the way. And that's 3 fours and a 2 taken by Tui and the 1 over. I picked that one right off the bat.
Well, I don't think Mike Brealey would be very happy about both of them's antics in that over.
In fact, Brealey's going up to speak to him.
Good shots, aren't they? Beautiful strokes.
Tui 78, 8 for 180, and that is the 50 partnership. And that over cost 15 runs, the most expensive over of the whole match.
This is going to be a testing time for Dimmock, the new ball, and a man who's a very good bowler with the new ball, that is Mike Hendrick.
Bowled him. Yes, Dimmock bowled by Hendrick for 11. Tui not out 81. Australia 9 for 185. Hurst, the right-hander, and Hendrick coming in. Hendrick to Hurst. And he's looking for a single there going. Yes, they're 3 for 1. So Hurst is 1, 9 for 186.
Very tall man, Willis.
And he's got a run. He might get 4. That's going out towards the boundary. I don't think the fieldsman will get to it. And that's across the line for 4. You could almost call that a classic square drive. This time for appeal for caught behind. He's out. It's Australia all out. Hurst, caught Taylor, bowled Willis for 5. Australia all out 190. Standing ovation for Peter Turi. Peter Turi remaining 81 not out, and Willis finishing with 5 for 44.
The Australian team would have been very happy to have struggled through to 190. Peter Tui was the mainstay and he played beautiful, and he'd be very pleased with that innings because he really has been out of form. But the game very much in England's favour with a lead of 119 as they go into the last 2 hours of play. And let's see now how those last 2 hours went.
Hogg is bowling to Boycott. And a fairly nice lifting delivery first up.
I wonder if Boycott's going to try and force the pace more in the second innings than he did in the first. Obviously, it is in England's interest now to capitalise on this 119-run advantage that they have. and score runs quickly to get 350 ahead as quickly as they possibly can.
Boycott is off the mark with 1, maybe 2. Wood giving chase. They're going back for the second. So it's 2 to Boycott. England no wicket for 2. Gooch to face his first ball from Dimmock.
Dimmock not looking very fast at all from that far end. Just medium pace, genuine medium pace too.
Off the edge, but Gooch is off the mark. Just the 1. Hogg coming up from fine leg. Not fielding cleanly, but it was only the 1 run. Hogg to Boycott. Oh, that's hit him on the head. We'll have another look at that, but I think that hit Boycott on the cap. No, it must... It's leg by, so it's obviously hit his body somewhere. We'll have another look.
It hit him on the head, quite definite. Quite definitely.
Yes, straight off the head. Oh, what a good delivery, and Boycott's gone, I think.
Not out.
No, not out, the man says. There's caps and frustration out there, and the umpire is completely unmoved. Boos from the crowd, but the umpire's in the best position.
Well, what happened there? There seems to be general consternation. It's like a gathering of the clans at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult decision to give from round the wicket, no matter how hard he prays.
Hogg to Boycott. And a run. Dimmock coming in from deep back the square. They're going for the second. The return's on the way, but well run. So Boycott is 23, none for 49. Yardley will bowl to Gooch. Up in the air it goes. It's way over the top. Who's onto it? Yes, it's right over. And landing just inside the line. That was almost a 6. Gooch 22. And that's the 50 up for England, none for 53. They're going for a single. Misfielded there by Darling. He dived for it. Of course, they've got to get up and chase the ball again. They've taken 2 and 2 only. And that is the end of the day with England none for 58, 177 in front.
England, with a lead of 177 after the third day, are obviously in a magnificent position. The only thing that I believe that stands between them and victory is their own slow scoring rate. Throughout this match, both teams have only scored 1 run every 2 minutes, and that's just not fast enough. If England are going to win this match, they must leave their team plenty of time to bowl the Australians out. There'll be a rest day tomorrow. The wicket for the 4th and 5th day in Perth is always at its best. Wickets will be the premium. The batsmen should be able to be on top. We'll be back here on Tuesday, so join us then. In 25 years of playing and watching cricket in Perth, I've never known 4 consecutive overcast days. But these were the conditions when England resumed on the 4th morning of the second Test match at none for 58. An overall lead of 177. The main worry England had was to score runs quickly, however, to give their bowlers plenty of time to bowl out the Australians. Australia's main hope related only to getting wickets in this first session. If they couldn't do that, then I believe they had little chance of winning this Test match. Let's see the highlights of the morning session.
Hurst is the bowler from the River End. The batsman is Gooch.
And the first ball now of the 4th day of play. Gooch is 26, Boycott 23. 9 sundries, none for 58. And to give you an idea of the scoring rate, those 58 runs were scored in the 2-hour session on Sunday afternoon. It's only about 30 an hour. Well, with 223 still required to take the lead to 400, it's going to take them a long time at that rate, so they'll have to increase that rate.
Yes, we worked it out. It would take them well into the 5th day.
Darling at cover point. Hogg to Boycott. Wood just beside the square leg umpire. Umpire Brooks at square leg and umpire Bailash at this end. The umpires change over at the halfway point of the game, so they reverse their position for the second innings. Darling.
The England batsmen, of course, will be playing themselves in again before they start making shots, trying to get a good side of the ball.
An appeal for leg before. He's out. Boycott. Leg before to Hogg for 23. 1 for 58's the score. And Hogg has broken through once again. His figures 1 for 12.
Well, I think that was a fairly good decision because Boycott went right the way back on. His stumps played across the line of the ball, attempting to force their way through the mid-wicket area, and it was just a pretty straight ball, a medium pace, straight ball, which, so strangely, Boycott missed. Here's that dismissal again. Hogg at about no more than medium fast, delivering to Boycott the ball pitching, as you can see, about off stump, cutting in slightly, and I think it must have hit about middle and leg stump. He was right in front. So that's the first breakthrough there for Australia. And Boycott is out.
Now, Randall on a pair. They're going for the single this time. It's Yallop coming in, but they're through. And Randall has his first run. He's off the pair, so Randall is 1. 1 for 59, and that's the first run scored this morning. Hogg will continue from this end. He'll bowl to Randall. And crack through the covers. A nice looking shot from Randall. That may be 4. It's slowing down on this outfield, but it should just beat the field, will it? Yes, it does. So Randall on to 6, 1 for 64.
Yes, a beautiful shot there from Randall. The authentic cover drive. Notice how his hands are wide apart on the bat. But he gets his foot pretty well across the bat, a fair way from his pads, but nonetheless he hit the ball right in the meat of the bat. And the ball zipped past Cover's left hand.
And they're going for the single. A shot at the stumps here.
And he's hit them and not out. Only one stumped away, Matt, by Darling. A beautiful throw, but Gooch was home.
Yes, Gooch was quite comfortably home. He backed up pretty well.
Randall on 7, and the bowler is Dimmock. And bouncing over the gully's header chase for Tui. There could be 3 in this. Gooch completing the second run quickly, and he's coming back for 3. Yes, a comfortable 3. Randall going along quite well. He's up to 10 already. But Gooch still on 26. 1 for 68.
Randall does look a fine player with the ball coming onto the bat. He's got such a good array of shots. There he goes onto the front foot, onto the back foot, and cuts that ball away beautifully through the gully position.
Right out to the boundary it goes. 4 more to Gooch. Well, that's his first score today, but he's really gone into that. So Gooch moving on to 30, 1 for 72. And right now there's probably less wind than we've had at any time during this game. That windsock, which is our guide, away to the left, is just hanging limply. It's just a still, sticky, humid morning. What was the contact there?
That was a good delivery. I think it was pad. I don't think the bat was put to it. There it is again. The ball coming in off the wicket, hitting the top of the pad. That's it again. Gooch definitely beaten by that delivery, but playing tightly enough to escape the consequences.
And cracked. Beautiful shot, that one. Slashed between the third slip and the gully. 4 more to Gooch. He goes on now to 35. Total moving to 78. 1 for 78.
Yes, an excellent square cut there from Graham Gooch. But I think this is going to be a sign of the times, because I think now the England batsmen, having gained a sight of the ball, I think they'll be going for their shots more.
And straight away, Yallop dropping down a third man. It's a defensive move by the Australian captain. 2 it is. And a chance and caught, is he? Or dropped? Did it reach to him? That was Hughes.
It was an edge which didn't carry. Hogg a little frustrated by that. The ball not bouncing very much. The edge from Gooch flying there to Hughes at second slip. You can see the ball's going to ground now. And let's have a look at it again. In fact, Hughes got to it before it got down. Hughes coming forward has grasped a catch. It was a difficult catch.
And hooked and ladled over square leg. There's a man out there. I don't think he'll get to it. And the ball goes slowly across the line, showing how lush this outfield is. Gooch to 39.
Well, Gooch is obviously going to play his strokes now. Moving well inside the line of that, and he hit it pretty well.
Now that 4 takes the total to 82, which is a lead now of more than 200. 201 in front. There were 119 in front on the first innings. Gooch, who's added 13 runs this morning, 3 fours and a single. They're going for a run here. There's danger. Randall spread up the pitch. Who's there? And they hit too late. Hit the stumps, but Randall was home. He was 2/3 of the way up the pitch.
Yes,
and the Australians just stood there.
Yes, I think Randall's done a return journey there. He was almost at the other end.
There probably was a run in that, and Randall was quick to see it. The ball just dropping there, down in front of Gooch. And Gooch not making any move at all. As that was Wood who came in from square leg and through to hit the stumps, but Randall had made good his ground, scampering back. But all in all, he must have covered something like 30 metres.
That's short. That's hooked away very powerfully by Randall. Fine shot. He really clobbered that in front of square. And takes England on to 1 for 93 and Randall on to 16.
We'll see this one very short, and Randall hitting this very high ball, but hitting it beautifully.
Graham Gooch on 43 now. Settling down at the far end. It's Rodney Hogg. Going to continue from this near end, this pavilion end. Confident shout going up there. Doesn't disguise his feelings, Mr. Hogg, does he?
No, he really was very, very confident about that one. Let's have a look at it.
Well, from the end of the line.
Gooch playing well back. And hitting middle of the pads. Looked reasonably close.
It was a good shout, Bob, but see from where he delivers that ball, right from the end of the line. It's going to cross at an angle, and I'm absolutely certain the umpire was right. It was going to miss leg stump.
Certainly well up as the spot to bowl for Gooch, who pushes back so often. The LBW appeal there is style of ball. It's very likely to get him when it just nips back in.
He's given him out this time, and I would have thought it was a very, in fact, I would have thought the first one was closer.
Well, I thought the first one was out, Jim, but just looking at that one, I thought it might have been ducking down the leg side, but it's evened out.
So Graham Gooch goes LBW. At least some runs to his name there. He's made 43 out of the England total now of 2 for 93.
Here's now Rodney Hogg once again well up to Gooch, as he should be. Or cutting down, this time hitting on the outside of the left pad, whereas the other one hit between the pads. Big appeal, and up goes the finger, and that pleased Rodney Hogg that time anyway. There again then can't see it quite as well because Randall's in the way. Good innings, however, by Graham Gooch, one which must have pleased him.
Well, in comes Mike Braley, which I thought must be a fairly strange decision. I think Gower or Botham a little higher in the order at this stage for England might have been a more aggressive policy.
Yes, England, who really do hold all the aces in this game, should be trying to push on their advantage. Really hasn't shown any inclination on this tour to score very quickly. I think he took 7 hours for 100 against Melbourne. In the test matches so far, has only been able to push the ball around, not play attacking cricket.
So Rodney Hogg again with both openers to his credit into Braley. And that's edged, and that's going to be out. First ball, and Braley goes, and the Rodney Hogg is on a hat-trick. So it's disaster there for Mike Braley, and the joyous Hogg has now claimed 3 wickets at a cost of 30 as England tumble here to 3 for 93.
Yes, we'll watch this ball now. Rodney Hogg pushing it in again. Outside edge, and a very simple catch to Johnny McLean. And Rodney Hogg absolutely delighted. He does enjoy getting a wicket. Let's have it again. Outside edge. Regulation catch by McLean. Interesting part about that, Jim, that Braley walked the complete length of the pitch after his dismissal to have a bit of a yap to Randall.
So hat-trick ball. Hogg to Gower. Comfortably saved it behind it without any problem. Just dropped on it, pushed it away into the gully. Hogg again to Rundle. He's guided that away quite skillfully down to long leg. Dimmock moving in and Rundle running well. Run the first quickly and was able to come back for the second. So there's the 100 coming up for England. But 3 men out, Boycott, Gooch and Brearley. Threw himself at that, hit it on the up, square on the offside. Once again, he'll bag 2 runs for it.
Well, wide of the body, going for the big cover drive. It's about a thick outside edge which went through point then. Oh.
Oh, what about that? Looks like a Sunday afternoon shot there to me. Real yahoo from outside, off stump.
I think, Jim, you could describe the replay for that one.
I'll tell you what, Bob, it's nearer one of my shots than one of yours.
Yes, I don't think there's a position in the textbook for that shot, but it's certainly effective. It was 3 runs.
Well, we've kept saying what a character this Rundle is. He's showing it out in the middle at the moment.
He just absolutely cock a hoop out there. I don't think he feels that he can get out.
I don't know what David Gower makes of that, who's facing now and still looking to score. It's away nicely this time, powered off the back foot, square on the offside. That's racing away. Slow outfield though, still down there. And any other part of the ground, he would have made 4 for it. Instead, Gower opens his account with 3.
It's not the spot to bowl a Gower short. He's over across that beautifully and square cut that. Look at the beautiful balance then by Gower.
111 on the board, 3 men out. Rundle facing. And he's got a top edge. He's going to get 4 runs for it. Oh, the top of the wicket keeper. So everything going Rick Russell's way at the moment. It's the left-handed Gower who will face Alan Hurst first of all. Just 2 slips and 1 gully there now. It's over pitched and driven again very fluently and almost casually to the covers. Darling doing a good job of work there. Really had to move. Beautiful piece of running there by Rick Darling. And so once again, Gower has been foiled from his boundary, but he gets 3 more for it.
And here's that cross-batted shot again. We saw one earlier when Dimmock was bowling from the other end and might just make the line. Hogg's chasing it and he's got it just inside. They've run 3 and that's all.
Well, I don't think you could call that. What's this? It's got to be a swish. It's hardly according to cricket's oil, is it? It's a most incredible stroke.
It's up in the air and he's gone. Randall is out. Caught at leg slip there by Cozier, so Randall is gone. Port Cozier bowled Yardley for 45. England are now 4 for 135.
Well, if I was Mike Brearley, I'd get Randall and give him a real old round of the tables for that stroke and the stroke he played previous that. He downs down, I would say, almost before the ball is bowled. Now, let's see what happens. Here he goes down. The bowler had hardly left the hand and gets a top edge and a simple catch to Cozier, but it's an absolute foolish stroke, unnecessary in the position, and really, no doubt, we'll have a word or 2 to say to Randall. Here we go again. He hit a mile too early, as you can see, and caught the back of the bat and just popped up a very simple catch. But it's good camera work there, and look at them. They're very happy, and not a very judicious stroke.
It's going to be Yardley to both of them.
Well, a man in form immediately, hitting the ball plump in the middle and straight to mid-on, but a very confident stroke.
The sweep shot, that could be 4 runs. It's going to beat Hogg at square leg. It's gone too fine for him. So Botham opens his account with a 4. It's a beautiful off drive. I think that's 4 runs. Nobody's moving. No doubt about that. We've talked about this slow outfield, but that ball was really hit out the meat of the bat. A repeat, and 4 more. Not too far away from the Yardley that time, but just beating the outstretched hand. Another well-timed stroke.
Hogg is opting to bowl around the wicket to the left-handed Gower.
An appeal for caught behind. He's out. Gower caught McLean, bowled Hogg for 12. It's 5 for 151, and Hogg has 4 for 35.
Again, Gower, I think, troubled by the bounce, which was rather more than he expected. It came over the top of the bat. And Gower, playing that shot of his, where he tries to make room for himself and cut through the gully, hit the ball with the top edge and was taken by McLean. Here it is again. Gower, as you can see, just underneath the ball, edging it very slightly.
New batsman coming in is Miller. We're down to the second half of the batting order now. No ball, but I think he played that shot before he heard the call, and it was a very good shot indeed. That sailed right across the slow outfield. That's 5 for 176 now. Here's a prospect of some fun and games with Botham to face up to Yardley. There's the big hit, and it's in the air, and he could be caught. He's out. Caught by Wood. Botham caught Wood, bowled Yardley 30. Miller not out 10. England 6 for 176, and Yardley has 2 for 29.
And that's the outside edge, and Lever's gone. So useful innings from Lever there, ending with his score just on double figures. He goes out for 10, and England are 7 for 201.
Yardley to Miller. Up in the air, and he's gone. So Miller is out for 25, and England are now 8 for 201. Small figure of Bob Taylor, the wicketkeeper, who's turned himself into a fairly useful batsman. It's going to be Hogg to bowl to him. Off the edge, and there's a very good catch. So Taylor is out for 2, caught McLean, bowled Hogg for 2, and England are now 9 for 206.
Well, what a catch. There you see it.
Dimmock to Hendrick. So Hendrick is out, bowled by Dimmock for 1, and England all out for 208.
For those who like their action fast and furious, the last 2 sessions have been certainly superb. 10 wickets and 150 runs, and we saw some magnificent stroke play and some superb bowling by the Australians. This means now that England have got a lead of 327. Australia are definitely in with a chance, and it will take some good batting in the last session, particularly by the openers Rick Darling and Graham Wood.
And Snick, and he's dropped.
I don't think it carried.
We may have just got there almost at Brealey's feet.
Let's have a look. Let's see if it carried. Definite edge. There goes the edge. Now, does it carry to Brearley? That's the thing. And his hands down there. Let's watch the ball bounce. He took the ball cleanly, and seems to suggest to me that the ball didn't carry.
Well, that time he pulled away. Taking a single, Lever coming in fast, but they're 3 for 1, and that's 1 to each batsman. Australia none for 2. And the hook shot, and Boycott's running round. He will not get to it. 4 runs.
The batsman is still running under the misapprehension that the ball didn't go over the line. They just about run 4. Well, I must say that was a good shot, but I'm not too keen on seeing a batsman play the hook shot so early in his innings. You really have to get your eye in and gauge the pace of the wicket before you start playing shots like that. The Darling, of course, loves to hook.
No ball call. That's hit him, and a nasty one. Now, that wasn't on the head, I don't think.
Well, where's that struck him? Was certainly in a great deal of agony. There's that ball again. Let's see where it strikes Darling. I think it hit him more or less in the stomach. He's down, and he really is in pain.
So play on. Willis to Darling. And just look at him. He covered that all right. That's the end of the over. Appeal for leg before, not out.
It was not a bad appeal either.
And that's in the air, and it's going out to Boycott, and is he out? I would say he is out. Yes, Darling caught Boycott. Bowled Lever for 5, an unusual dismissal. Australia 1 for 8.
There's the ball from Lever, short, and it just got up so suddenly. As you can see, it takes him completely by surprise. It's the top of the bat handle. The top of the bat handle and flies out up to mid-on. A tremendous way for a ball such as that to travel.
Well, there's the situation of the game. Australia 1 for 11 in the second innings, requiring 328 to win.
The 85 minutes lost through rain late in the day means that Australia really have no chance of winning this match. I feel it's going to be a draw, but if any team's going to be winning, it's going to be England. England at present have a lead of 327 and Australia are 1 for 11, and that's an awful long way to go on the last day. Australia, when they resumed their second innings on the morning of the 5th Test match, were 1 for 11, chasing England's total of 327. The day was absolutely brilliant with bright sunshine, the wicket perfect, the outfield a little bit slow overnight, but still Australia, I felt, were going to battle to reach this mammoth target. If indeed they are going to win the match, it would be up to the early batsmen Wood and Hughes. So let's now join them for the opening balls of the day's play.
So we're ready to go with Bob Willis starting off proceedings, going into Kim Hughes. So Hughes with a single to his name, facing Willis. That's turned away quite comfortably. Off his thighs round. First runs of the morning as Boycott comes round and fields. Single there to Hughes. And talking about that crack up there earlier, I just wondered whether it was on that particular spot that Rick Darling was so unfortunate. But a really vicious delivery from Lever.
I think it was. Peter Loader and I went out there just before the beginning of the game with Lindsay Hessett, and it's quite a pronounced crack with green grass around the edges, and one ball seemed to have hit right on the crack and just frayed a little bit of the crack at both sides, and I think that was where the ball that got Rick Darling hit.
That's a left-handed Wood now to face Bob Willis, and that's possibly flicked off the pad. Lever coming round, does the fielding well. And in fact, whatever it was, leg byes have been disallowed by umpire Tom Brooks. Wood eye in the field as Lever comes in from this pavilion, and left arm, quickish bowler coming over the wicket. Over pitch and driven quite nicely through mid-on. Willis having to give chase, a big gap there, but a nicely timed shot there from Graham Wood will bring him 3 runs.
Well, Jimmy, looks as though the outfield's a little bit slower after that rain.
Yes, I'm absolutely certain it will be, particularly down this side on the left-hand side of the screen there. It's been slow there throughout the match, but that rain can't really have helped Australia's cause in chasing runs here. So the delay as Willis can chase that ball, strolls across now to take up a wideish mid-on position. And he's in business again, is Big Bob. He's going to chase that through mid-wicket, and it's Kim Hughes' turn this time to add 2 runs. So it's a good brisk start to date by Australia. They've added 7 already.
And there was that hesitation that Wood so often produces in his running partner.
Just a gentle breeze, as you can see from that windsock there. Oh, that's a lovely shot. Dropped short by Willis and fairly hammered away by Kim Hughes. Glorious shot. Another good shot, this time from the left-hander Wood, over pitched on his leg stump. Food and drink really there for him. Substitute Edmonds has come out to field for Willis, doing the work out there, and Graham Wood gets 3 for it. Let's leave a 1 for 9 now from this pavilion end. Tries luck again against Hughes. It's over pitched and half volley. That's what a half volley should get. It's driven quite beautifully through mid-off. Randall giving chase, just about to pull it up. And it's a shot that was worth 4 runs of anybody's money. But the slow outfield doing its work here means that Wood only got 3 for it.
Now we see what Mike Brearley meant when he said during the rest day that plenty of shots that were worth 4 haven't been gaining 4 runs. The outfield is very lush.
It was a very good and apt remark, that, Frank. Not only has it slowed the down, but it's helped to keep the shine on the ball for the quicker bowlers.
Certainly Hughes hit that with everything he got, and it still didn't reach the boundary.
So Hughes on 11 now. It's taken very low down too by Bob Taylor. He's having another look down there.
Yes, but again the ball moved off the wicket, as it has done so often with the bowler coming from this end. You can see probably moved about 6 to 9 inches. But even if Wood had edged that, there'd have been a doubt as to whether the ball would have carried.
That's over pitched again. Now it's Wood giving it the treatment this time. Through mid-wicket. Once again, it won't go through to the boundary as well as Fields. Willis again to Hughes. And he's beautifully caught. Tremendous catch. Willis has struck. Great catch again in the gully, this time by Gooch. Australia 2 for 36, and Kim Hughes has gone. Hughes out for 12. And I think possibly a little bit unlucky, because he fairly middled that. It was a glorious catch.
He was unlucky in one respect. He hit it straight to the fieldsman. A short ball. A legitimate shot, which he failed to get on top of because the bounce was just a little bit more than he expected. And he hit it straight to Gooch.
And Willis to Yallop. And it very nearly paid off. Didn't pitch too far in front of Boycott.
Both of them to Wood. There's a good hook shot there. Looks like 4 runs if Boycott giving chase, but he won't catch that. So Wood goes on to 19, and it's 2 for 40. Have another look at that hook shot. So at the bowler's end, and he's hit the stumps, but Wood safely home. They're looking for another run, which they could have had, but not taking it. And there's Jeff Boycott, the man who threw that. Fine piece of fielding, but they've got the single. Willis to Wood. Well, that is a wide, I'm sure. Yes, and it's 4 runs. Oh, there's a nasty one. Now that cut back the other way, and it's hit Yallop just above the pad on his left leg, and that hurt.
There's no padding there, just above the pad. They always seem to get. Once you hear, see Graham's gone back to this straight away, and that ball's quite well up. It's given it plenty of time to cut, and that's what creates the problem. If he'd been forward there, he probably would have covered it all right.
Both of them now round the wicket to Wood. No ball. Fine hook shot. 4 runs. Wood goes on to 26. It's 2 for 50.
Wood very quickly on anything short. In good position here, getting inside the ball and helping it on the way.
So it's Graham Yallop, the Australian captain, still struggling to get off the mark. There's Willis to bowl to him. There's no run, it's gone to Randall at cover. Off the edge, and he's off the mark. A very unhappy Bob Willis there, showing his disappointment.
Yes, I think that was another catch.
May well have carried.
Have a look at this now. Graham once again pushing down the onside, and I'm sure it was a catch there.
Botham to Wood. One, back for 2. Gow, the fieldsman. Wood goes on to 28, 2 for 56. So hook, and it's up in the air. Boycott's underneath it, and I think he'll be out. He's dropped it. So Woods, a lucky escape there. He got one run for it. He goes to 29. But a nasty swirling catch. They're not easy, those, and Jeff Boycott not judging it.
Boycott always looked in trouble on that one. He was kept backing back instead of turning round, running, and then having a look. The hook, you'll see Boycott here backing back all the time, always in trouble. And finally, well away from the ball. It could have well been swirling up there, moving around. That's excellent camera shot too.
Those comments from Bob Simpson, and now with about 40 minutes to go to lunch, it's Hendrick to bowl to Yallop. A little bit uppish that one off the bat, but falling well short of Randall. This morning then, 47 runs have been scored in just over 80 minutes. And here's the replay of that. Now, watch it go up, but it falls well short of the cover fieldsman. An appeal for caught behind, but not out. Yes, he's out. Very long delay by umpire Brooks, but it's long enough to say not out. But Brooks deliberating there for something like 5 or 6 seconds, and Yallop caught down the leg side by Taylor off the bowling of Hendrick for 3, and Australia 3 for 58.
Yes, that's a very confident appeal by every fieldsman, and Tom Brooks took a long while. Now let's see all the fieldsmen, if we can, see them all go up together. Well, it didn't seem to change course much, did it? Well, I wouldn't like to adjudicate that, and umpire Brooks gave him out, so he's out. That's the whole thing, but it did not deflect. Didn't appear to deflect one little bit. So the game goes on. Australia in a lot of trouble now. 3 for 58, and much depends on Tui and Cozy, the next 2 batsmen to come in.
The batsman out there for this morning, Darling, was out yesterday, of course, for 5. He was caught Boycott bowled Lever. Hughes caught Gooch bowled Willis for 12 this morning, and Yallop caught Taylor bowled Hendrick for 3. Now here's Tui, the top scorer for Australia in the first innings, 81 not out, and he comes in now with Australia in a bit of a plight out there now.
Yes, well, the odds are swung. They've always been heavily in England's favour, and that's even more so now. And the weather forecasts are pretty good today, unlike the storm we had last night. And Australia have a real battle on their hands because there's a lot of time left for the Englishmen to dislodge the Australian batsmen.
Well, before you came on, Keith, you made some interesting observations about that miscatch by Boycott. It looked bad, but it wasn't as bad as it seemed.
No, when you've been out in the middle, things a little differently to what you see when you're off the field. And the point is this, that the ball went very high, and they are possibly the worst catches of all to take. You have too long to think about them. And you've got to remember, Geoffrey Boycott has contact lenses. And another thing, the sun is straight above. If you like to look at the shadows of the fieldsmen, it's straight below them. And I would say that Boycott would have been looking straight into the sun because he misjudged it badly in the end. He got a hand to it, but he's completely out of position. But you got to remember that when you're looking up the sky, and as I say, you can just look at the fieldsmen there. There's no shadow at all except straight below them. So I'd say Boycott, a bit unlucky, looking straight into the sun.
Now Hendrick to Tui. And appeal for caught behind, and he's out. Hendrick's on a hat-trick. Less sensation. 2 wickets in 2 balls.
Well. 100 one day, they say, and a duck the next. Well, Peter Tui, 81 not out, almost 100 in the first innings, and first ball in next innings. And, well, here we go again. Let's see how much deflection there is. Well, that seemed to come straight through, and of course you watch the fieldsman and the bowler, they all went up. They had no qualms about that being touched, and Tom Brooks, 2 decisions in a row, and they're very tough decisions.
Hendrick to Cozier, bowling for the hat-trick. Well, he got that right in the middle.
Played like a man in form, wasn't it? Played like a man in real top form.
And runs here. There's nobody there. Of course, a long chase with Randall. Randall flying from the far side of the field, and they'll take 2. Randall fielding that ball from
cover point. He must have run him 100 metres to get there.
In 9.2 seconds, Norman May.
Now, was that a catch? By the reaction, there was a reaction from the players out there. That could be an attempted caught and bowled.
It's very hard to tell. He smothered us and possibly a bump ball. Let's have a look. No, straight catch. It's a straight catch. Well, as you rightly said, Norman May, the reaction of the player suggested a catch.
Botham from this end, he'll bowl to Wood. Well, there's that gone. It's up in the air, and Boycott is underneath it this time, and he has dropped it again. They'll take 2 runs. That was a hard one there.
Yeah, that was a hard catch, and no, don't blame Jeff Boycott for that. That was a most difficult catch, and frankly, I reckon he did well to even get a hand to it. No, Jeffrey Boycott, that's a great effort, I'm not kidding. Up it goes. Look at Wood, you can see him look it up, but you watch Boycott, he got a long run, and he's looking into that sun. I reckon he's done a great job, really. Just on through his hand.
You made the point before about his shadow. Look where his shadow is, right
straight
underneath him.
Yes, and he'd be looking straight in the sun, which a lot of people don't realise.
No ball, and again it's out to his court this time. He caught it, no ball.
Well caught, Jeffrey, but of course he didn't have to look in the sun for that one, so there's nothing wrong with Jeffrey Boycott's eyesight.
Kozia facing Hendrick. Appeal for leg before. Not out.
Well, Tom Brooks will give you some heart attacks. You don't know how long he's going to take, and he's right in front. Tom's in good position here.
And runs a long chase for Boycott. Boycott's going to run here. He's got to chase it right down to the boundary, and the ball just might reach there. It's going to be close, and Boycott will get it. Yes, he does. They could run 4 if they want to. Now they're quite happy with 3. Now change here, Botham to going to over the wicket to bowl to Kozia. And he's clubbed that over mid-wicket. That's a very powerful shot by Kozia. A shortish ball, and he's made 4 out of that. That was a very well hit.
That same little short back punchy shot. He's very powerful, as we mentioned earlier, and that was a fine shot. What's this?
And Wood on 37, Botham again coming round the wicket. And that's hooked away in the air, but dropping safe between square leg and deep long leg and goes through for 4. Good shot there by Graham Wood. Botham again. Two fairly easy runs there. Willis is a man down at long leg. I think it's fair to say that Botham will be trying him with 1 or 2 more short pitch deliveries such as that. With so many runs to spare, it's a gamble well worth taking. Boycott coming to the action this time on the opposite side of the field. It's pushed quietly away by Wood for 2 runs. Wood on 49, a new over from Hendrick. And hurrying quickly through. So the smartly taken single by Graham Wood brings him to his first 50 in this series. Good, solid performance, although he's been dropped a couple of times. Hendrick again to Kozia. There's the single that the crowd have been waiting for. That'll bring up the 100 for Australia. So 4 out for 100.
Well, there's 4 runs from a bouncer. I think intentionally played over the top by Kozia.
Yes, it's always pretty safe, that one. A high bouncer, if you really go after it on the square or back cut, you've got to be unlucky. Here it is now. You'll see Kozia giving himself room and helping it over the top, I believe. And it's bounced only a couple of times before running into the wicket. Here is from the other angle. Here is laying back. Bang. Away over the top. 40 love.
That's a better shot. Long chase for Gower. They'll cross for 2. And they'll be back for 3. That's a good shot from Cozier. Now that might reach the boundary. Running down the hill, and it'll be 4 runs. Cozier goes to 45. 4 for 139.
It's a great shot, this Cozier, leaning right into the ball. Beautiful transference of weight. And he's hit that one in the middle. And yet that just got to the boundary. Yet he's hit it at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
More runs here. It's Willis fielding. And 2 more to Cozier. He is now 47. It's 4 for 141.
Playing pretty well, Cozier, if he can just keep it going at this pattern, as long as he doesn't get a rush of blood to that very red head of his.
That's out. Cozier's out. LBW to the bowling of Miller for 47. And Australia now 5 for 141.
Yes, just what we're talking about then. That ball then was drifted. Cozier went for the big sweep. And the only doubt I might have had was the height, but certainly he was in front of the wicket. Have a look now. It's drifted a little bit, as you can see in the air. Certainly it was in line.
Single there to McLean. He's off the mark with that. And it's 5 for 143.
Lever has already taken the wicket. That was the first wicket, in fact, to fall last night when Darling was caught by Boycott, a most unusual dismissal. That's Wood on 64. And I suppose if Australia can save this game, Wood would just about have to bat right through.
Well, here's the man we want. Of course, he's lived rather dangerously, hasn't he, throughout this match? He's dropped by Brearley before he'd scored, and then Jeff Boycott had one chance he should have held, looking into the sun, a very high sky, trying to hook the ball, and then a little later, a similar shot, but Boycott had to run a long way, and I would not really classify that as a chance. Then to rub it in, Boycott caught him off a no ball.
And appeal for caught behind, but not out. Yes, he is again. A long delay by the umpire. Umpire Brooks in his last match delayed that time so long. I have never seen as long a delay as that to give a man out.
Well, that is the longest delay I have ever seen. Oh, listen to the applause. Listen to the boos. Oh, well. Well, it's quite unanimous. Behind the wicket, all the players, or practically every player went up in unison, but the bowler didn't. And so there, umpire Brooks, the longest delay I could ever recall in giving a man out. And Wood's not happy, but all the boys behind the stumps went up as one. So let's have a look at that. Just watch the appeal from the men behind the wicket. Well, you saw it all, and looks as though the wicketkeeper wasn't too happy. He didn't appeal, that's for sure. He took it rather nonchalantly. And the longest delay I can ever recall of an umpire giving a batsman out. Here it is again. Well, the ball hasn't deviated one fraction, has it? Straight through to Taylor. It looks as though he's just kind of happy to throw it back, and now he's changed his mind.
Miller to McLean.
An appeal for leg before, and
caught and slipped.
Oh, he's caught. Caught by the slip fieldsman there.
Much faster delivery, and it's one that goes straight through, and for a second it looked as though it hit the pad, but you can see it hit the outside of the bat here. Good delivery, and much quicker one, and well caught.
And the field in place now for the off-spinner Miller and Hogg to take strike.
Oh, and didn't that curl and didn't it spin? Well, I suppose it's about time for the little quick low one.
Bowled him, clean bowled him. The exact ball that was nominated by Keith Miller.
Well, you can pick them at times, can't you? I said about time, that low, fast one, and it got through. Hogg's right through and knocked him over.
And Lever will bowl to Yardley. And runs again. There's nobody out there. Chase for Gooch and Gower. Gower and Gooch having a real sprint for this. Watch the two of them come in, but Gower's too fast, and they go back for 3. 150 up for Australia, with Yardley going on to 7. And caught brilliantly. What a magnificent catch.
Oh.
Hendrick.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
A left-handed catch. That's as good a slip catch as you could see.
That's as good a catch I've ever seen. That wasn't even a catch. It's incredible reflex action. Oh, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. What's this? Whoosh. Well, you missed it, but I can assure you that's one of the greatest slip catches I've seen.
Did I say Hendrick? That was both of them, wasn't it? Huh?
Well, here we are then. Just about, I think, to see the last rights, but it's been a very disappointing batting performance by Australia here this afternoon. Only 3 men into double figures.
Well, there's a clout if you've ever seen one. He's taken that right over the mid-wicket area. That would have reached the fence at the back. That was as good a shot as we've seen. And Dimmock goes on to 6, and it's 9 for 160. Bowled. It's all over. Hurst bowled by Lever for 5. Dimmock not out 6. All out for 160. Which means that England has won the second test by 167, and Lever finishes with great figures, 4 for 28.
What do you see was as the main difference between the two teams?
Well, I don't know, really. We struggled through the first day. I think it was as big an achievement as anything, because that was when the conditions were best for bowling, and we had a fair bit of luck and a fair bit of skill. And then we've bowled extremely well. We kept the pressure on the batsmen all the time.
Graham, do you think the team, as it is good enough to fight back from 2 tests down in the series?
Oh, yes. India did it last year to us, so I can't see any reason why we can't do it to England this year.
Well, victory to England, and I believe the final result was a true indication of their supremacy over the Australian team. Perhaps the only bonus that came out of this match for Australia was the player of the match was awarded to Rodney Hogg by 4 votes to 1. 5 wickets in the first innings, 5 in the second, and he did a superb job from Australia. But overall, it was very much England in this test match, and the Australian selectors have got a big job ahead of them, I believe, in selecting a team which can match the professionalism of this wonderful English 11. Right now, I believe our major problem lies in the batting. Australia must do something about their batting. They must get a great deal of more solidity in the middle. For England, they haven't got too many worries. Gooch came good, Boycott got runs, and virtually all the players performed. So England now go 2 up in the Ashes. Australia a long way behind. We'll now look forward to seeing how the two do in Melbourne in just a week's time.